It's the Donna Adelson trial. Years have passed since the murder of Father Dan Markel. Somebody knows something, but nobody's talking. Enter the FBI. They set up a wiretap operation to get the Adelson family to start pointing fingers. Did they get it?
Got it.
We'll show you how it all went down. All that and what it means for your weekend on the Comm Center. Wake up, America. It's the Comm Center with Drew Breezy. It's a TV show on the internet about two best friends who are called by a small town sheriff to investigate the sheriff's station when it's found to be haunted, not by a ghost, but with guilt. I'm John. I'm an actual 911 dispatcher. I've been doing that job in my community for 10 years. Joined, as always, my podcasting partner with police benefits. That's Andrew Baxter, an authentic cop that goes by the fake name Drew Breezy. Drew, today we're covering The Bump, the move that got the Adelson family to incriminate themselves. This is going to be probably one of the funnest parts of our long Adelson series. If you guys have missed any of those episodes, getting ready to talk about the Adelson trial, which is coming up, make sure you go back and watch those. We got 4 previous episodes about all the key players and everything you know to be ready for this trial. One comment that we got on a previous video was how long it took for this investigation to take place. Certainly the murder of Dan Markel was in 2014. It's now 2025, and it's like we're only at the final trial of finally getting Donna Adelson to be held to account. She's had all these years of freedom, even though she set up her ex-son-in-law to die. It's frustrating. But if you watch the first 48, one of your favorite shows, or if you look at criminal investigations into homicides, it's very, very difficult to shake loose what happened unless somebody starts talking about it. And in this case, it's very difficult to find any way to get anyone who knows anything about the conspiracy to kill Dan Markel to talk, because every single person that has that information is a principal in the conspiracy. They're a part of it. They play a role. And so no one has any interest in talking to the police about it because they would expose themselves to criminal prosecution. So when everyone's got their lips zipped, the FBI has to resort to kicking the hornet's nest. They've got to give everyone a reason to suddenly start talking about it. And of course, they're not going to talk to the police, but if they can talk to each other and be overheard, we're going to gather a lot of intelligence that way, right?
Yeah, this is a calculated risk on the part of, in this case, I think the FBI ran the wiretap, but it's still a state prosecution. But they're not necessarily dragging their feet, but at the same time, there's no rush. So why not build a case that is impenetrable to make sure that they go to prison for the rest of their lives?
Particularly if you get a not guilty verdict, you can't try again. So it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing. And if any one of those, hindsight's 2020, we know that they were all convictions, but if any one of those pieces had crumbled, well, maybe some of the other convictions never would have happened.
Right. You build convictions on the strength of prior convictions and getting people to flip. This entire case, like in those prior episodes, were built on getting Rivera to flip on Magbanua and Garcia, and then Magbanua flipped on Charlie, and we're working our way up.
Right. This is right up my alley. This is kind of my wheelhouse, if you will. I did a couple wiretap investigations. I spent most of my time in narcotics, smuggling, like long-term drug trafficking organization investigations. And I moved into a criminal intelligence role. And so surveillance operations, wiretaps, I have had the distinct honor to actually author a couple of wiretaps. It's kind of a rarity in the field.
Even to this day, you still hold up a glass to the wall of your neighbor and eavesdrop.
I still do that. Just I don't put my trash out until the day of. But this is kind of right up my alley, and these are the kind of the fun sort of investigations when you know, when you have a good basis to know that there's criminal activity going on, and you're trying to catch somebody over a long period of time. So you have to realize that these are not overnight investigations. A lot of times, a deputy sheriff or a police officer will respond to a burglary call. They'll follow a trail of paperwork from inside the car, and it'll lead to another car, and there'll be somebody sleeping in the other car. And then you can kind of make this generalization that, after a good interview or interrogation, the guy that's sleeping in the other car admits to breaking into the first car, and the night's over, and you put the guy in jail, and that's it. When you're talking about a racketeering case, RICO, racketeer influence, corrupt organization, or you're talking about an electronic surveillance order or a Title III investigation, which is a wiretap, these tend to go for months, and FBI investigations tend to go for years, to be honest. And their theory is like they're just going to keep committing crimes, and we're just going to keep gathering evidence until
And we're big government, so we don't have to do anything fast.
until it gets too violent. And in this case, they intervened after the violence had already occurred, and they started building their case. So when people say, like they should have cleared this case, and like what took them so long? Well, you're at the mercy of phone companies. You're at the mercy of issuing subpoenas, so they all have to go through the courts and through the state attorney. You're at the mercy of getting those phone records back and having an analyst like actually go through the phone records. That could take 6 months sometimes. You're at everybody else's mercy, and in the meantime, you're doing all the surveillance. Or if you're on a wiretap, you're actually listening. You're hearing what they're saying. So, without further ado, let's just get right into what the bump is in this scenario.
And spell your name.
My name is Oscar E. Jimenez Jr. My first name is Oscar, middle initial E, Jimenez.
How are you employed, sir?
I'm retired.
What about back in 2016?
I was a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
What were your duties back in 2016?
Back then, I was assigned to a violent crime squad.
As part of your duties, were you asked to participate in an undercover operation relating to a murder that occurred here in Tallahassee?
Yes.
All right. And what was your role in reference to this particular operation?
Well, in this operation, I was portraying myself as a Latin King member, and my job was to initiate a bump.
All right. And you were going to initiate a bump. What does a bump mean?
Well, a bump is a term we use in law enforcement where an undercover, like myself, would approach somebody, either a target or a subject of interest, and it would be used to either solicit information, give information, or possibly set up a follow-up meeting.
All right. And could the purpose be to generate discussion for a wiretap?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. And on this particular occasion, I'm going to draw your attention to April 19th of 2016. What specifically were you asked to do?
On that particular day, I was instructed to bump Mrs. Donna Adelson and hand her a flyer.
All right. Photograph of Dan Markel, and you mentioned on the piece of paper that you handed Donna Adelson, there was something handwritten. What was handwritten on that piece of paper?
There was a dollar amount, and a phone number.
All right. And what was the dollar amount, if you recall?
Well, I believe it was $5,000.
Okay. And what about the phone number? Do you have that committed to memory?
I do not. The only thing I know is that was my undercover cell number.
Was the operation in which you approached Donna Adelson on the street and handed her this piece of paper, was that recorded?
Yes, it was.
How was it recorded?
It was recorded both video and audio.
All right. And were you wearing a body-worn camera on your person?
I was, and that recorder recorded audio and video.
Okay. And was there also a team positioned further away that could record the interaction from across the street?
That is correct. There were security teams that were also recording.
Okay. Just so we're clear, a security team is put in place. Like we used to use security teams. Like if they're going to have an undercover meeting in a restaurant or whatever, there are 2 or 3 undercovers, maybe sitting alone at different tables, or 2 or 3 guys sitting together and they're armed. It's just in case something bad goes
We've
happen.
all seen that in movies, right, where the drop is occurring and all of a sudden someone draws a gun, but every other person in the restaurant is already a cop. We love that moment.
Right? They all draw guns on each other. So just to set it up, they discovered, or they know where she lives. They know where Donna Adelson lives.
By careful examination of the phone book.
Right. And back in the white pages, probably. And so they made the determination that they're going to approach her first. And there are a couple explanations why. We'll get to that in a minute.
Hey, before you do anything else, make sure you're doing all those YouTube things. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with the Comm Center. We answer 99.9% of comments, so make sure you leave yours below.
Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. You? No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Bruto for quite some time after your problem of that.
This is the rule of Undercover. This is the Murphy's Law of Undercover, by the way. The most important part of the conversation is usually covered by jet plane noise or some type of garbage truck.
I'm just surprised that when the bus passes by that both of them aren't disappeared.
But he said that I know that your family is taking care of Katie and Tuto. So he's using specific names with her before he answered this thing. There's definitely a purpose behind that.
And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. And we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuzo. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
There's no real audio left. It's just a video part, but I could tell you that this is the fun part too, John, especially when you're trying to tickle the wire, like we call it, a bump, so to speak. It's looking at the defendant trying to do the math as they're going about their everyday life. They're trying to figure out, like, what in God's name just happened? Who is that? And what are they doing here? And generally, the last person they think it is law enforcement. They don't always think that way. We'll see in a little bit that Charlie may have thought that way initially, but
Yes, it does.
Does that appear to be correct?
Yes, it does.
And what is that then?
305-712-6570.
So that was your undercover number?
That is correct.
I want you to pay close attention to that number 6570 because it's going to come up later. It actually verifies a lot of the coded language, and I'll explain what coded language they use.
Why did you select Donna Adelson to be the recipient of this phone?
Because we noticed the pattern of calls leading up to the murder and around the time of the murder. The calls were always Donna Adelson to Charlie Adelson to Katherine Magbanua to Sigfrido Garcia and then back. It was always going back and forth pretty much in that order. So we wanted to start it on one end and see what would happen, see if it would travel that same line of person.
So I talked earlier about phone records being a big part of the analysis, and this is what an analyst will dig into. When you subpoena for the subscriber information and the tolls of a phone number, they'll do a comparative analysis of who's calling who when, and that's what they're using not only as probable cause for the wiretap itself, but it's also, circumstantially putting these people in contact with one another. And it's also giving them a good push into the right direction in the investigation.
All right.
Right. So, is that trying to target after work or some other joining their near future and the needs of people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna write a letter to you or something?
I've got some paperwork hand delivered to me.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was.
Just for context, this is the day of, maybe a little bit later in the day.
So Charlie thought it was a process server initially. He said, you're being sued?
Right. That's exactly right. He even asks if he hasn't already. It's kind of tough to hear with this audio, but he even asks, so was it the IRS? Like, who are you talking about? Like, he has no clue what this is about. And she's trying to speak in code about this literal article of her son-in-law that was murdered that has the words $5,000 and an undercover's phone number on it. Like if I handed you that in the middle of the day and you made your first phone call, what would you say? Like normally, as a normal human, what would your reaction be?
If someone approached me and said, "Hey, this person helped out your family, and we need you to help us back with a phone number," and I had done nothing illegal, I would throw it in the trash and I would never call the guy.
Right.
I wouldn't be conferring with members of my family about it. It's concerning, obviously, that an apparent stranger seems to know something about my family, but I don't have that conscience of guilt. I don't know what he's talking about, and so it would mean nothing to me. The fact that anything happens at all after they make contact with her, it's all evidence of the fact that she accepted the note, that she put it in her purse, and that she called Charlie Adelson. It's all evidence that something is wrong. Otherwise, she should know nothing, and she should just be confused.
And this is like the wiretap investigator's dream, because this is the whole point of, quote, tickling the wire. This is the whole point of the bump. She's not saying, hey, some weirdo walked up to me and gave me a piece of paper. It's got Danny's picture on it. It's got a news article. It says $5,000. She's saying, this guy, I can't really describe him. And he's, gave me some paperwork. Like, why are you, if you don't know what this is about, why are you talking in code?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so, I'm gonna help you figure out something. You can tell it that we were you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office. I'm in Park Boulevard.
Okay.
So I'm right now with Kyle and Chili, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
Okay. So the boys will finish their piano lesson around 4-ish, and they'll be track of it, and they take a ride with them up there.
Does Dad know about this?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's IRS?
You know, those IRS people are kind of obvious sometimes, but, fortunately not now.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm gonna have to drive up that way.
All right.
Okay? And,
Does Wendy know that? Is it about
no,
Wendy?
no.
Pretty important question, John. Does it involve Wendy or anything? And what's her reaction? No.
So let me just talk to you later, and,
What is it? Is there help okay?
yeah,
All right. Does it involve me or other people?
well, probably both of them.
That's a pretty damning statement, don't you think?
It involves both of us. She's being so coy, though. That's the thing, is that they ought to just convict him just based off of how coy she's being.
Yeah, you're guilty for being coy. So I can tell you in that wire room, wherever it is, or wherever they're doing that electronic surveillance from, and they're hearing her say things like, yeah, I mean, it probably involves both of us.
Oh, they're pumping fists at that point.
They're
Because
that's one another, and they're trying to contain their excitement so they can hear the rest of the call, but at the same time, they're just like, yippee, 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 it worked.
What's that?
Probably the two of them. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. So let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the boys for a while, okay?
You didn't take it away like that?
Well, when he doesn't come home, he doesn't get here till about 7 when Dad gets here.
So it's harder to talk to me today.
Today or tomorrow, I mean, it's important.
All right.
I know what to do.
Well, I'll be up at Mitch Klein's office. You want to
Wait.
come up? Oh yeah, so really late.
I'm just concerned that I think we have to get up there and get back in time for Wendy to get them. Sometimes she gets out a little earlier than I think. coming out here.
Can I ask you a question? Who's the paperwork sent from?
I see that, that's great. It was something that came hand to hand to me as I exited the building today.
So that like solidifies there is no getting around anymore that they're not talking about that piece of paper that the FBI delivered. She said it was something that came hand to hand to me today as I was leaving the building. There's nothing else they could be talking about.
And was it anonymous or?
Oh no, it's not anonymous. Not anonymous. I just didn't want to discuss it on the phone.
Right, whatever it is. It's silly, but if you want,
I wouldn't bother you. Trust me.
Yeah, no. Do you want me to come down to see you tomorrow? I have to have the day off.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Dad actually starts later tomorrow. You know, he goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 9:30 to 10:30. So
Whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
yeah.
Is that part about how dad has the day off? Is that important to getting him out of trouble, saying that he has no part in the conspiracy if it's important that he not be there? If he was involved, he should come to this meeting between Donna and Charlie. So I think it's important that she mentions that, hey, your dad's not going to be here, so it's the perfect time.
I think if they had an Adelson board meeting, and the three of them were present, there were probably 2 votes to go through with this hit and 1 vote to not. And now they're faced with all these issues, the not vote is probably in I told you guys mode. So they don't want him to know about this stuff. This is just complete supposition on my part. I have no like basis, as in I don't know the reports. I don't know if he was interviewed or interrogated or whatever. I don't know if anybody else has ever implicated him other than the practice paying Katherine Magbanua. But it's just my guess that he will freak out, especially from a security standpoint when you got complete strangers walking up to, your somewhat elderly wife, and you got your grandkids walking around. I think, just as a grandfather, he's probably a little concerned about it.
I see it completely differently. I think if they've been married forever, Donna probably knows that he doesn't have the stomach to set up Danny to get cooked, and he was never involved at any point.
That could 100% be accurate.
I hope it's not the IRS. But
I just would like you to review it and give me some input into what your thoughts are.
All right.
Okay? So come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 would be good.
12 tomorrow.
Yeah, he leaves at 12. He starts at 1 there, so 12, 12:15.
All right, I'll come down in the afternoon. That way I can hang out with you and see you.
That would be great.
Perfect. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, sorry about that.
This is a subsequent phone call. This is, probably a couple hours later, maybe.
Question for you. Well, one thing I was going to tell you is obviously don't talk about things in the apartment or any place.
Oh, obviously.
What do you mean?
Obviously. Don't talk about things. Why would we talk about things?
Like, if you're not guilty about anything,
Yeah, if she doesn't know what he's talking about, she says, well, why wouldn't I talk about it, But she didn't ask questions like that. She goes, oh, obviously, I got this incriminating evidence locked down tight, son.
but it's almost like, again, that, just picture that room where they're sitting around listening to this, and the high fives start intensifying because they know the wheels are turning in his head. They didn't even have to talk to him. They just went to the weakest link, what they thought was the weakest link. And they dropped a match, and it exploded. And now his head's spinning to the point where he's even telling his own mother, hey, just, if you're in the apartment, don't talk about this stuff. Like, please don't say anything. But like, what are you hiding? And who are you hiding it from, and why? Like, if you're not guilty, if you didn't do this, like, why are you? But this is the exact point of the wiretap.
The other thing is, was the person black, white, Hispanic?
White.
And they just came up to you and they said your name and they handed you a piece of paper?
No, didn't hand it right away. First spoke to me for a while and then handed it to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't hat sunglasses or?
No, nothing. Nothing. I could describe him to a T.
What's that? You could
Describe him to a T. No, nothing.
Was the person nervous or were they angry or?
No, calm as could be. Totally calm.
That's really crazy. Are they trying to ask for money or something?
Yeah.
It's someone trying to, I mean, listen, if it's something like that, it sounds probably like you go to the police, but
I may have to, but I'd rather talk to you first and then.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, there's scumbags out there all the time that try to do stuff like that.
Oh, I know.
So,
That's why, you just want me to see, because I don't want, not your father upset. So,
don't say anything to Dad and Dad take a look at it, because Dad flies off the
absolutely.
on everything.
That's why I suggested, after he goes to work tomorrow.
So he's talking about don't show it to Dad because he flies off the handle on everything. I tend to think that he would understand what it meant. I don't know. I really don't know, John. I support your theory, but at the same time, there's
No, that's actually pretty incriminating about him flying off the handle. That supports what you said about him, like saying, I told you this was going to blow up in our face. Because if he's dear, sweet Mr. Adelson, the way that I picture him,
doctor.
a doctor, sorry. Now I'm going to downgrade him to Mr. because of his involvement in a conspiracy to kill a guy. I mean, you get your Heisman taken away, you get your doctorate taken away.
Yeah.
Sorry. But but obviously, yeah, they're just worried about him getting pissed. They're not worried about him because if the former Dr. Adelson thinks that his family members are innocent of having Danny killed, he would insist they go to the police.
Yeah, that would be the first place to go, and this would be it's even more incriminating for her. Take the father out of it. She's like, no, I just kind of want to run this by you first. Like, we may end up going to the police over this, but what are you talking about? If you're being extorted for something you didn't do, the first phone call you should make is the police. The second phone call is your son. And I know it's easier said than done. It doesn't always happen that way.
Well, you could flop the order, but I mean, you should be talking, even if not the police, how about a lawyer? Like, if you're not sure if you should go to the police, maybe you should consult a family lawyer who would tell you, hey, should we handle this privately and just give into what their concerns are? Or should we go to the police? And a lawyer, obviously, unless you got one of those crooked mob lawyers, they're going to tell you to go to the cops.
No, or the attorney will handle it. In other words, like you've retained this attorney, like, look, here's what's going on. Here's the information I got. The attorney, I guarantee, is going to be like, oh shit, yeah, don't talk on your phones. I'll call law enforcement. I'll be the intermediary here. You don't have to speak to law enforcement. I'll do all the talking, and I'll keep you clean out of this. And that's what attorneys do. That's what they're paid to do.
Unfortunately, wouldn't work because the attorney would contact them and then they'd say like, hey, my client Donna Adelson was approached by this thug in the street, and the cops would be like, I know, we sent him. He was great, wasn't he?
He was pretty realistic, wasn't
He was calm. It was it must be hard to find an FBI agent who looks like a total badass, but good for them.
without a hat or glasses.
Doesn't give you any kind of like time frame or anything?
No.
Okay.
All right, so John, there comes a time when you're listening to jail phone calls or you're listening to wiretap phone calls, and they speak in code. Normally what happens is you put the pieces of the puzzle together because in one instance, they're going to say, yeah, I've got 5 turkeys in the oven. And then in another phone call, the same person's going to say, I told him about the 5 kilos. And that, right? So you can kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. Normally it comes in subsequent phone calls, though, or it comes in different phone calls. You're going to see where Charlie intentionally talks in code, then he just blows the whole thing wide open.
Well, they weren't. The thing is, they were taken by surprise, right? They weren't prepared to ever discuss this ever again. As far as they were
Right.
concerned, it was over.
Right.
So the bump comes along and it's like kicking a hornet's nest that, they're upset, they don't know what to do, but they don't have any contingency plans for how to respond to a threat like this. So they don't even know how to communicate amongst themselves. They've already been infiltrated. Their internal comms are infiltrated. So there's literally nothing that they can do while they're separate and while they're out in public, and possibly even while they're at their own homes, depending, of figuring out the plan to resolve the outstanding problem of contacting the undercover agent for the money.
All right, listen to how he validates this entire wiretap.
Yeah.
It's clear what's wanted.
What is, can I just ask you, what do they ask for?
You know, I don't know, this TV was probably about 5.
They ask you for $5,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
So she's like, yeah, I mean, this TV was about 5. And he's like, they asked you for $5,000? He could not have put that in more plain English than anything else. Like, so now future phone calls where they talk about the TV have now been, and I'm telling you, when you write pertinent calls, or when you, as part of your ongoing report, or your report to your 10-day report to the judge or whatever, you can say that, your affiant knows through training and experience that people involved in criminal activity often use coded language. In this instance where he's talking about TVs, we believe that he's talking about the hit on Danny Markel, and reference it to this, is hereby incorporated by reference of this phone call on this date where where they put TVs with money. So
They're very bad at the code, though. But the mere fact that they're having to have this nervous conversation about the cost of a TV, the jury must be eating this up.
yeah, yeah. And this, I think, particular one we're watching was during Charlie's trial. I would imagine he's just sinking in his chair just a little bit more, or he's like, yeah, we were talking in code. I got this. I'll just get up there and tell him, no, we were talking about TVs.
Yeah, I
mentioned, like an ex-girlfriend.
All right, just to further validate this thing, there's a meeting at, they had them under surveillance. There's a meeting at a restaurant called Dolce Vita. It's a restaurant, I think it's in Miami Beach or Fort Lauderdale. The FBI was followed Charlie and Katherine Magbanua to literally a table. Neither of them knew they were being recorded, and the undercover just sat, not the same undercover, but a surveillance agent, a surveillance deputy, officer, detective, whatever, sat one table over and recorded their conversation.
So my point is, how do you get people to talk? You throw a smoke grenade, and then you get all the cockroaches to run out.
So he's describing the bump, John. He's saying, like,
He's no dummy. He's bad at this, but he's not a dummy. He's figured out that, hey, this entire thing was to get us to talk about it.
Yep. So yeah, and that's exactly what he did. He
But
described.
the guy sitting at the table next to him with the enchiladas con mole with the sunglasses, who's constantly touching his ear, he doesn't realize that guy.
Right. He's got with the large lamp on the.
I'm sorry. Could you talk about your ex-brother-in-law into this lamp?
He keeps pointing his glass right at them. He's just staring at them. He's got the nose glasses on, probably, so they don't recognize him.
There's smoke in the house, and everyone's running, and everyone's talking.
He's talking about roaches. He's like, they throw a smoke bomb in there, and everyone's like, there's smoke in the house, and everyone's running out talking about.
I'm sure the Dolce Vita doesn't appreciate a discussion of cockroaches in their restaurant, by the way.
Once he gets on the stand, he's going to probably say that was all about the roaches at Dolce Vita.
You throw a smoke grenade, what do you think? If that's what he was, very smart, because that beat my mom. My dad should have looked out for me. My mom had to call my dad. Well, normally, obviously, if that was a cop that came from my mom, that night when she comes home from work, she was in. Guess what? I got to get you cakey a little bit when I'm taking the grandkids. And then after I dropped them off, she was walking. Yeah, she dropped them off and I was walking back by herself. So it turned out to be wicked that thing is a lot of times about things their bar tries to school. The kid is going to see her routine, knows who she is. Yeah. Someone may come up to the office, my dad works Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like, you know, it's probably either get him on the beach or get him in the office up there. And my mom, because my dad so customary to know. So you never know. So, you know, you don't want to start a fucking shootout. Because I don't want someone paying in this area. You could. I wish it wasn't top playing games.
So something that's interesting here is that the undercover guy, he identified himself as Tuto's brother, didn't he?
Gang brother. Like, he's my brother.
Well, still then, I mean, she would be able to, you know, if he was legitimately connected to Tuto, I guess is what I mean too. But
Yeah.
she would be able to identify or confirm that that was happening. It generates the question. So now Katie might have to call Sigfredo Garcia and ask him what's going on.
It's funny you say that. Charlie calls the number, the undercover's number, and this is their conversation. This is on April 28th, because Donna also calls the number, but I'm not sure what the date was.
I'm going to be so pissed if he answers undercover FBI.
FBI Miami, can I help you? Tuto's brother, may I help you?
Hello?
Hola, diga. Hello, diga.
Who's this?
Who's this?
Someone's been calling my family and trying to figure out who this is.
In reference to what, man?
Someone by the name of Sandy called.
Yeah, that's me, man.
All right, what's
I think it's Sammy, not Sandy. I think, well, I got this off the Tallahassee Democrat YouTube, but I think it's Sammy.
going on?
Well, what's going on is my brother Tato. Okay, my brother Tato has not been taken care of. His family's not been taken care of. I talked to a dentist. Why are you calling me? Who are you? I gave the number to a lady.
I don't know, Tato.
You know Tato?
That's, again, this is great validation. You're actually talking to an undercover FBI agent now, and you're validating the whole thing by saying, I don't know Tato. Like, if you had nothing to do with nothing, you'd be like, look, man, quit fucking calling. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't ever approach my parents like this again.
I'm sure you know Katie and Tuto. They've been taken care of since the family problem been taken care of up north.
I don't know.
I was, you don't? Well, this is going away, my friend. Because let me tell you something. I was at Broward with Tato, and he told me the whole story. He told me nobody was taking care of him. Nobody was taking care of his family. The family was taking care of Katie and Tuto, and nothing's been taken care of with Tato.
John, favorite hitman, Tuto or Tato?
Isn't that like asking the difference between fries or wedges?
Yeah, sweet potato fries or fries.
So we know what's going on. And Tato needs to be taken care of. Do the right thing. The lady already has the paperwork. She knows what I'm talking about. We know Katie. We know Tuto. We know they've been taken care of.
All right, let me look at the
No more f***ing around, man. No more f***ing around. This ain't going away. You guys need to do the right thing for Tato. That's my brother, man. That's my brother, and he needs to be taken care of. His family needs to be taken care of, just like Katie and Tuto have been taken care of.
I've never met these people, but let me call you back, okay?
That's bullshit, man. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know this lady. I don't know your relationship with lady, but we know what the f is going on.
All right, let me call you back.
Wait. Take care of Tato just like you take care of Katie and Tuto, man.
Let me call you back.
He was pushing him pretty hard there to get him to identify himself on tape as, oh, I'm Charlie. I'm that lady's son.
I'm the dentist.
I'm the one that set up this whole deal, as you well know, sir.
Excuse me. I am the mastermind.
Excuse me. I am the mastermind here. I am the one pulling the strings. I am the one paying for all this. I will have my way.
Right.
Mrs. Adelson, is this, Sammy? Sammy. Okay, my grandchildren had my phone before, so.
This is Donna Adelson actually calling the undercover.
Adelson? I'm Mrs. Adelson.
Yes.
Yes. My grandchildren had my phone before, so that's, and I just saw that you called.
Oh, okay.
You
left the message on my voicemail.
Right, I did.
Yeah.
This is my problem. You approached me on Alton Road. You handed me an article from the newspaper about my ex-son-in-law. You told me I need to call you and help your friend who was in prison. Now, at the time you did that, I didn't understand what you were talking about. I didn't call you back. Then you mailed me a threatening letter. Then you send me a text message to my phone that says I'm not taking you seriously. So I am taking you seriously. And I really want you to listen to me. I have to tell you, I mean, this is important. I have been so stressed out. I have spoken to 10 or 12 people who are close friends of mine, telling them about this and basically picking their brains and asking them what I should do, because I don't know your friend who is in jail. You mentioned a name. I don't even know his name. I never spoke to him. I don't know what he looks like. I've never met him. I'm sorry your friend's in jail, but I don't know what that has to do with me.
You know exactly what it has to do with. You know exactly what it. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me. You just got to listen to me.
You need to ask your friend who this person looks like, what their name is, something, because I know there's a big reward out there, and if you need money for your friend, that's the way to get it. I mean, I'm asking you nicely. I don't know who he is. I am out of the loop. It is not me. If I can help, I would help. I mean, that's what.
Just like I told you. Listen to me. Just like I told you that day. We know that your family had a problem up north. We know that problem was taken care of about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we know that Katie had been taken care of. It has been taken care of. Now my brother in jail, we were in Broward together. He told me the whole thing, and he hasn't been taken care of. You know. Now, all that's being asked for is 5K. That's all we're asking for is just 5K. And he told me everything, and I know everything. I know who's involved. I know everything, and I'll get the 100K for myself.
You know,
all I ask is to send the 5K. Everybody knows what's going on.
I don't, you're saying everyone knows. I know I lost my ex-son-in-law. I did not have anything to do with it. That's why I said, ask him what.
That's what not my brother Tasso told me. He told me everything when we were in jail. He told me everything and who was involved. I know everything.
Well, I don't. That's the problem. I'm telling you, it's not me.
One last phone call to put a little bow on this. This kind of validates more coded language, but this is a phone call between Sigfredo and Katherine. Katie.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was, I think just in case, I think like you have to pay for even for this, because the balance is $65.70.
I have to pay for it?
Like, I think, you remember that I wrote it down, the amount you're supposed to put,
You can't pay for it?
but I'm not sure if it's $60.57 or $65.07.
So she's saying, because it's hard to hear, that, hey, something about Ethan's clothes, blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember the amount. Was it 60.57 or 65.70? And he's just not catching on. He's like, I have to pay for that? And she's like, listen, the piece of paper.
She's much better at this than Donna and Charlie are.
But that Undercover's phone number was 305-712-6570.
Still stuck kind of stands out as code, though, because nobody cares about change.
Yeah, and she's exactly, and she's trying.
Like if you wanted someone to pay for something that was $65.70, you'd be like, dude, you owe me $66 for this thing.
Right. Or 65.
Secured credit.
He's saying, I'm trying to get an unsecured credit card to pay for this stuff. Because they're like in the process of a split too. And she's like, listen.
I'm just telling you, I don't remember if it's either one of those numbers.
Well, you're picking them up today, so.
Huh? The what?
You're picking them up today, so you'll find out when you get it.
The amount that I gave you on a piece of paper. I don't know if it's $60.57 or $65.07.
Got it.
Light bulb went off.
Okay? So it's some credit cards that I can use in his school. So it makes no sense. Got it?
Okay, so saying little things like understood right before he hangs up, that puts another nail in his coffin. So
that's how I end every phone call with a friend. Understood.
Understood? Ah, like I can hear you winking through the phone. Yeah. They all validated their coded language. It just kind of goes to show you you're not going to beat that. You're really not. Like like I said in the live I did last night, if it's text messages that they are monitoring for, like if you're involved in criminal activity and they're monitoring your text messages, they see both sides of the conversation. If it's just the phone calls that they're monitoring, somebody is going to validate what the code is. You might as well just come out and say it. It's just you're making it more intriguing for the jury, but you're not making it any harder for anybody to figure it out. So like the best advice I can give you is don't engage in criminal activity.
I have a kind of a procedural question when it comes to wiretaps, if you don't mind. I kind of want to pick the brain of the experience. Was it a lot of fun?
It was a blast.
Do you like calling up old ladies and like shaking them down for money? And they're like, I don't know what you mean. You know what I mean? My brother's in prison because of your ass, You kind of, you get to do play acting at work. I'm sure it must have been worth. I'm sure it must have been worth all that bullshit traffic that you ran.
This I'll tell you one quick story. There was a good drug investigation going on, and they were counting money like you could hear him counting money, and he calls his girlfriend to tell her he's going to be late because he's counting money. Like, I think he even says it. And he thought he hung up, but he didn't hang up. And she's still on the line, and we're still on the line. And he starts talking about another female acquaintance he has. And he's talking about all this graphic stuff he's done to this other female. And she's hearing the whole thing until the point where she's like, "Hey, you idiot." Still on the phone. So we get to hear that. And then he's like, "Oh shit." So that becomes prime time, by the way, to strike while the iron's hot. That's when you step to her and say, "Hey, listen, not for nothing. We're just taking a shot in the dark here that people you know are involved in criminal activity, and they're going to get you in trouble. So is there anything that you know what we're talking about? You know what I mean? Like, you just played dumb, and they usually spill the beans. There is no better informant than a scorned ex-lover. And by the way, if you're a fugitive hunter, the mother always knows where the kid is.
Yeah. But that just goes to show you that you really do have to have people who know about the conspiracy to talk about the conspiracy or the crime to solve the case. When nobody's talking, you can't get anywhere in a case, and that's why something like this shakes it loose. About your phone call, though, I remember I was once working in the prison, and someone came to me and they wanted me to open the mailbox for the outgoing mail, which was a big no-no. You don't touch the mail. And he had accidentally sent the wrong letter to the wrong girlfriend. He was cultivating multiple love interests, possibly for commissary money. And he accidentally put the wrong letter in the wrong envelope. So it was exactly the same situation. Folks, thanks for watching this episode about the bump. We're going to be following this episode up with Wendi Adelson. We're going to view her interrogation. Lots of people think that Wendi, who stood the most to gain out of the murder of Dan Markel, it's impossible that she could not have known or was not involved. And we're going to take a look at the first few minutes of her interrogation to see what police saw, to get Drew's take on that and why she may or may not be involved. So stick around for that next episode. That comes out on Tuesday. Make sure you watch all these episodes here on all the Donna Adelson stuff that we've made. As always, you can drop us a voicemail. We love it when we get voicemails. Drew, it's been a great episode. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, I love episodes like this.